Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. To my left, to my left might be to your right. We've got Scott, so good morning.
Morning, Dan.
How are you today?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm just putting off the painting and decorating for a little while longer.
I don't blame you, especially in this heat.
I know.
Well, it's first Premier League game in 23 years and Sunday at City Ground now as the excitement levels.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? Really, all that time about being in the Premier League. Yeah, it's going to be. I don't think it's still quite sunk in yet. I don't think it will until I get into Nottingham at Sunday lunchtime and just walking up London Road and just soaking the atmosphere up. It's going to be amazing. I think the atmosphere. It's going to be I can't wait to be there. To be honest, it's going to be great.
The atmosphere on Sunday going to be amazing. I mean, there've been times last season where it was just immense, but I think Sunday's just going to top it.
I think so. I think obviously the demand for tickets has gone through the roof. I don't know. I don't know. I've been surprised, to be honest. I didn't think it would go as mental as it has, but it really has gone crackers trying to get your hands on tickets. It feels like if we had a 45,000 seater stadium, we'd be filling that at the minute with the demand. So obviously pleasing that the main stand's been given the go ahead. Get a few more in.
That's the main thing as well, that we have got that going through now, and it will make it a lot more exciting times for it.
Yeah, I think of that new main stand development, it'll really transform that area because that's the bit that's letting it down now, isn't it? As much as I love going in the main stand, that's where I cut my teeth as a junior ed back in the 80s. So it always has that nice nostalgic feeling about being in the main stand, but it needs doing, and it just looks so good, the design plan. So I think if we can retain Premier League status and then you're walking down to the new main stand development, it'll just look incredible.
Yeah, we were just saying before we came on about how everything needed developing, and even just remodeling it, it will make it a lot more. Probably the best stadium in East Midlands, to be fair.
Yeah, well, it's not the plastic kind of Subbuteo setup that Derby and Leicester have got. At least we've got our own kind of bit of uniqueness. Certainly, City Ground retain that tradition and old style of a football ground, which apparently a lot of the travelling Premier League fans are looking forward to coming to Forest for that reason. That it's a traditional ground. I was talking to a Tottenham fan the other day, and he said it's just like gold dust trying to get all the Forest tickets. So I'm expecting West Ham will have sold out as well, big time. So the atmosphere should be quality.
Yeah, I mean, quite a few Premier League fans came to me and said that they're looking forward to coming back to Forest because of where it's situated and history, and when they came before, and like the whole getting there just be unique, and obviously the pubs. I can imagine West Ham being so like it's a bit of a Jesse Lingard derby at the minute with all the hype favourite Lingard, which will just add to the atmosphere on Sunday.
Yeah, I think so. Be great if we can get off to a good start, a winning start. But I am looking forward to when it does start to gel between him and Brennan, that one-touch football, because I think it could be absolutely lightning. So yeah, he'll be up for it. The West Ham fans will be giving him loads of grief, so hopefully that will kind of raise his momentum levels a little bit more. I think he had a bit of a quiet game last week by all accounts. So it'd be just amazing if we can get off on the front foot on Sunday.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, last week, one of them ones where I felt that we couldn't have played a difficult game with Newcastle. I mean, with the how and what they was on with everything. I mean, when we did play football, we were so out going forward, but I mean, it was a bit of a wake up call in a way, but which was expected.
Yeah, I mean that was going to Newcastle. I think the only side that they've lost to in the last kind of 6 months is like the top four,
Mm,
some big teams. So I think Eddie Howe was always a good appointment, and it
mm,
sounds like he's got them playing how he likes them to play, kind of that passing game, high press, fast tempo, which was brilliant at Bournemouth. But you think he's now gone to the richest club in the world now to play that brand of football and get the players that he wants to come in. I think losing 2-0 there, opening day, 50 odd thousand Geordies looking forward to the season and getting behind him. That was a tough game, but I think a good one as well. Welcome to the Premier League. This is what you're going to be up against every week. And maybe it was a bit of a warning to a few that, on the back of last season, you can't take anything for granted now. This is
mm,
completely different. There are no coasting in games now, feeling your way into games. You got
mm.
to be on it.
From the start, and that's the thing. We all, I mean, people said it loads, and quite a lot of people said it that we're always a second half team, and if now they've got to be they've got to be on it from minute 0 to minute 90 now.
Yeah, I think obviously it's going to be a huge test now for Steve Cooper. He's obviously he inherited that team last year pretty much and brought in one or two new faces in January, but clearly that the transformation was down to his coaching and his style because the last coach wasn't getting it out of those players. So he's done a brilliant job, but it's difficult now with so many new faces that yes, patience is required, but how much time realistically have we got? We've got to get, you've got to start picking up results kind of sooner rather than later because it's going to be a hard season. And I think West Ham on Sunday is one of those games at the City Ground where you think this is potentially one we should be hopefully coming away with 3 points, if not getting a point from it.
Well, I was saying the other day as well, saying that you got to be looking at winning your own games. Got to make the City Grand Fortress. Then whatever you pick up away from home, it's a bonus. I mean, it's an old saying, but especially when you come up, you got to be looking at your own games, thinking, yeah, we got to try and win these games. Then away from home, you be like looking to get something out of it.
Yeah, I think you're looking at the fixtures and they don't look. I mean, every game's going to be hard, but I think up until the World Cup starts, there's quite a few fixtures there. You're thinking actually, these are some of the games that we should be hopefully picking some points up from. But we've got that double-edged sword that, yeah, we've got a lot of new faces in. And realistically, I think it's going to take 4 or 5 games, for it to start to come together. So the game on Sunday it feels like it's a bit of a siege mentality where the fans have got to get 100% behind them. If things don't go well, they've got to stick with them. And it's got to be like this. Yes, it's got to be like it all through the season, but I think particularly while they're betting this new, this new number of players, new number of faces, they've got to make them players feel welcome. They've got to get behind them and make them feel part of it. So I think if they can give that 100% on the pitch, which we've come accustomed to under Steve Cooper, he knows the importance of the fans, and no doubt he'll be stressing to them that you've got to give them fans something to shout about. And even though it might not come together as flowing football that we've come to expect, it's going to take a little bit more time, I think. But I think if the players can give the fans something to shout about, we know all too well from last season about what a place it can be.
Yeah, oh, definitely. I can imagine people emphasising that to all the new players as well, saying how good the atmosphere is, and the atmosphere will be crucial throughout this season now, because if we're getting behind the pace, they will be more. Oh, well, I mean, they'll be up for it anyway, but they're being given that extra 20% more than what they do anyway, and they will feel the support, and it will just drive them on.
Yeah, I think when like Born Slippy drops at about 10-3, I think that's when the goosebumps will really start. Yeah, it's just going to be amazing. Yeah, massively looking forward to it.
Definitely. Yeah, it will be. I mean, really, really looking forward to it now. I mean, what sort of team are you expecting to play against West Ham?
Well, obviously from last season, didn't like to change the team too much. So I would think the back five, well, the back three and the two wing backs, I would think they'd stay the same. I think midfield potentially. I don't know whether Yatesy will be back. I think maybe Colback and O'Brien just maybe not quite enough of what we need on the front foot. And I suppose I was a little bit surprised that we didn't see the striker last week. I mean, I know he came on, but not from the start. So I'd quite like to see him have a go. Although, I can't say I've seen too much of him. We know what Sam Sturridge will give us in terms of finishing, but I think perhaps he struggled a bit isolated last week, and maybe we need that bigger physical presence up front, which obviously West Ham will bring on Sunday. So I'm not expecting too many changes. I mean, I know that I think hopefully announced a new player today, but we've had hardly any time to have trained. So I'd be surprised if he came in, if he does sign.
Yeah. I mean, when Eddie Rooney, I think I can't pronounce it properly yet. I will admit to it.
No, I know what you mean.
When he came against Valencia, it just got that bit of a one about him, which I was quite impressed about. So I can imagine. I mean, that's probably the only choice I would have made, unless if he'd just been Mangala in for one of the centre midfielders.
Yeah. Sorry, I forgot about Mangala. Yeah, so I'd probably expect him to start maybe alongside O'Brien. I think Lingard in that roaming roles. I think he's hopefully being at home. That will suit Lingard a bit better. That Forest will have to push higher up the pitch, hopefully, and take the game to West Ham, because I think last week it seemed a bit disjointed by all accounts, and there wasn't too much to take away from the highlights, if I'm honest.
Yeah, definitely. I had it on, and I mean, when we did go, when it did clear, it's clicked, but it just missed that final third ball, which is normal for Forest. But yeah, when it did click, it did click.
I think it's just the stakes are higher, aren't they? Now we're in the Premier League. It's you've got to take those chances kind of more so than last season. I think if anything, I think Steve Cooper maybe got a little bit critical of Forest not taking chances that came the way last season. Even though we were scoring plenty of goals, I think he still felt that we perhaps weren't quite clinical enough. So, yeah, in the Premier League, I mean that's my biggest worry, is scoring goals. Have we got enough goals in the team? I think defensively we'll be okay, but I think it's scoring the goals. But that's the bit that we need to address. And I still think we're maybe 2 or 3 more signings away from further up the pitch is from what we need.
Yeah, definitely. And it's that saying as well. You learn a lot more about your team when you lose. I'm sure Cooper's understanding it a lot more now, especially with this enough new squad that is learning on his feet like he was last season, which obviously proved to be successful. So I can imagine Cooper's learning on his feet again quite quickly.
Well, I think obviously, every day that they spend together on the training pitch is going to keep developing that understanding. So they've got to do that quicker, than any other season because of the new faces. But fingers crossed, they get paid a lot of money to develop that understanding, and they're intelligent, clever players, because Cooper wouldn't have them around if they weren't. So, hopefully they'll fit into Cooper's style. And that one-touched football that was great to watch last season. If we can get Brennan Johnson going with Lingard, I think that could be our biggest weapon in the arsenal.
All day, I couldn't agree more. Maurizio saying good morning from Lassina Fodria, where Mr. Roy used to play.
Oh wow!
And Maurizio saying Furlough to go play all Italian TV channels to confirm his move from Atlantico to Forest. So, bit of so to say.
Yeah, a bit of continental here.
Mangala needs to start. Marchnev would be a great signing.
Oh, yeah, I think he would be a good. Ask you what the chances are of him coming.
Yeah, there you go, Maurizio. That what's the chances of him coming to Forest? I have to be honest, Lingard isn't as good as people describe him. Fair enough. Bit controversial. And getting Dennis San would be massive. And that's the other thing as well, because Emmanuel Dennis seems to be looking close to San as well. So that'd be another attacking Arsenal. And he also gives that Premier League experience that will be quite up front as well, because I mean Brendan not played in Premier League, so Shan. And he only played in the top league in Germany. Lingard been around for centuries, so Dennis will offer that bit more Premier League experience.
Yeah, I think on paper he looks like he'd be a good addition. I think he scored 10 goals last season in the Premier League, so in some respects it's a safer bet than Morgan Gibbs-White, who I would love to come to Forest, but it's just asking crazy money for him. And you kind of think, well, Dennis is for half that.
We'll get him back. Obviously, Merrick and Stevie has a fantastic left foot. This one is Wolves are just asking for crazy money, as Scott said, for having his technical difficulties. But I don't think it. I think Wolves are just asking crazy money for him, and it's just a shame that Wolves are asking for 50 million, which is crazy because starting some of the 1 to 25 million. So, you know, Mitch was saying Modern Gibbs White isn't worth 50 million. I won't pay 50 million for Gibbs White anyway. Brent said, we'll probably see a lot more towards the end of the season than this one. If it was not. So I've gone out in a minute. Hopefully they do get him back. Mitch was saying crazy 50 million for a player who was on loan last season. Completely agree. But it's one of them ones for me to refer with, especially with the this way. I know a lot of people want him. I know people want him, but we just got to be realistic about Gibbs White to refer, because we wouldn't want to pay 50 million for a player that been out on loan, not really testing himself in there. Oh, what about? Yeah. Hello.
Hi Dan, sorry.
It's right. We're just saying about the Gibbs White.
Yeah. I mean, I thought when we played him last season, I thought he was absolute quality, especially in that second leg at City Ground. So I'd love it, to be honest. I think Steve Bruce obviously thinks a lot of him, having played with him. Having managed him for the England, I think under 17s, I think it was, and then he's had him at Swansea as well, and it seems to be quite a positive relationship. It sounds like the player perhaps wants to come, but 42.5 million was apparently the
Yeah,
latest one. I mean, obviously that's including add-ons, but yeah, it's a lot of money. But for me, it would be like the icing on the cake, I think.
yeah. So would you pay the money? Would you pay the money to get him in?
Well, it's a bit like Monopoly money now, isn't
Yeah,
it? So it's kind of like, we're in the Premier League, 42 million. It is a lot because you think Brennan Johnson probably had a better season than Gibbs White. I think that's probably fair to say, maybe marginally, probably a better season. I think considering we got promotion as well. And it's kind of like, how much would we be asking for Brennan? I think the fact is that because they're a Premier League club, he belongs to a Premier League team who are more established than us, then they're not going to let him go on the cheap to a potential, a rival, and particularly to a club that's just been promoted. So I understand why Wolves are probably making it difficult, but if he keeps us up, and let's say that part of those add-ons are for it's 10 million if he scores 10 goals or he gets 5 assists, then it's money well spent, isn't it? If he keeps
yeah,
it, so it's one of those, isn't it? Really, to weigh up the financial costs of him being successful is probably outweighs what we'd pay for him. So for me, it's not my money. So I'd say go and get him.
yeah. St. Maximin of Newcastle, fantastic against us. How much did they pay? I think they were 10 million, 20 million. I don't think it was that expensive to be fair, St. Maximin.
I think there's players out there. I mean, it seems like Forest have got that many fingers in pies at the minute. I think that they're going to go for it. I think they're going to try and find another couple more exciting additions up front. Maybe Keenan Davis isn't going to come now, which I would have liked to have happened. But I think with his injury records, that perhaps we need somebody that is going to be a bit more reliable.
Yeah, and he's going to Watford. He's replacing Emmanuel Dennis from what I'm reading this morning. So, which is a shame. I would have bought Keenan back, but obviously, as you said, his injury record it's not the best, and it's one of them ones you wouldn't want to take. Yeah, fair enough, he played really well last season, but then you wouldn't want to take the risk on someone getting injured for 3 months, then wait to January to pay for. So there's always that flip side.
Yeah, I mean, Keenan was brilliant. He was absolutely fantastic. But when he was injured, we didn't half miss him, and we can't afford to take that risk. I don't think. I'd still have him as a squad player, to be honest. If we could, if it meant Dennis and then Keenan as well, maybe that would be good, as well as Morgan Gibbs White. But maybe I'm just getting greedy now.
Nothing wrong with being greedy. What would your score prediction will be for Sunday?
I'm going to say 2-1 Forest. I'm hoping we'll get off to a flyer. Maybe get an early goal. Maybe get that second to ease a few nerves, and then concede one just to make it a bit of a flappy final 20 minutes or something like that. That sounds very much like the Forest way.
Yeah, I would have said an early goal to be fair. Get on the front foot with it, then get an early second half goal, then or even late first half goal, then second half try and push on and then see what happens.
Yeah, I think if we can just get the fans behind them early days, maybe a Lingard or a Brennan Johnson early goal, just get the fans right behind them. I mean, I watched West Ham last week. I mean, I know it was against Man City, so it's hard to kind of judge against, but they pretty much sat back and let Man City have the ball. So I'm not expecting that on Sunday. I would think that they try to come to Forest and, I don't know, to try and get a foothold in the game early on. So we know what Michael Antonio is all about. So it's going to be a tough game.
Yeah, I was just reading as well earlier that Antonio said that he won't celebrate if he scores.
Yeah, fair play to him. I saw that earlier
Mm.
on Sky Sports. So he was a cracking player at Forest. It's a shame we couldn't hang on to him. I think we only had him for a season or just over a season, so it was a bit of a shame. But I think after a bit of a shaky start at West Ham, he's completely turned it around, and fantastic. God, I'd love to have him back, but it's probably a little bit out of our price range these days.
Yeah, don't say yeah, he is. And Antonio playing left back, right wing, left wing, up front. I think the only position
Yeah,
in goal, West Ham. But yeah, I couldn't agree more. But yeah, thank you for coming on anyway.
no worries, Dan. Nice to see you. Enjoy the game on Sunday.
You too. So I'd like to say thank you for watching, guys. Do hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Do follow Scott on Twitter. It's Munich and Madrid.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd like to say thank you for watching, guys, and goodbye.